Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
And good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us after the long weekend.
Yes.
Holiday.
I don't know how your weekend went, but mine went by pretty quiet and peacefully. As I said last week, Thursday,
a while.
my plans were to get away from the crowd, get away from the hustle and bustle as well, the city life. And so I spent, since Saturday, I spent those 3 days in the jungle.
Yeah.
And April, I tell you, man, it's so beautiful, the what we have to offer in nature, to just spend time sitting back and reflecting on life in the quiet. I mean, I know I'll lie to you. There were moments when I would turn on my phone and I would look at all the Facebook lives. I'm that age where I still want to see what's happening out there.
Of course.
I mean, live from Placencia, live from Hopkins, live from San Pedro, live. I mean, even PG had a crowd.
Yes, PG had a crowd.
You imagine?
Yeah.
And so I did get to tune into some of that. But for the most part, I spent my weekend quiet, family, friends, and truly enjoyed that.
Well, I'm so glad you had a wonderful quiet weekend. I tried to have a quiet weekend as well, but the family and I we went down to the coast and it was still relaxing. We were away from everybody, but I did peep into the nightlife one of the nights and wow, Belize. Wow. Y'all wild out this weekend. I could not believe the crowd that was out there, and I took a video and I sent it to my friend, and then she in Keycocker said that is nothing.
That's
and
nothing.
I saw a bunch of videos from Keycocker. I saw a bunch of videos from San Pedro. You know, I understand it was like, you know, when you have a whole bunch of people chained up or jailed up for a long time, you just release the gate and everybody just flood out. That's exactly what happened. Everybody just gone nuts.
That's exactly what happened, April. I think that's the best way to describe it. People have been locked up in terms of Easter for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I think the moment people heard that we would have this type of free and loose Easter, it kind of got them saying, all right, well, we need to get ready.
Seriously.
Yeah, so swimsuit. Other one time, either for a sheen or wherever you're out of your swimsuit.
Oh, you know about
listen, right? or whether it was that, or promoters and event planners hitting the ground early saying, we need to get our events together and we need to organize so that people can know that this is the place to be. I did a story on Friday, in fact, at the boat terminal.
Yes,
the
I
water
saw.
Taxi.
Yes.
And it was Thursday, because Friday was holiday. To my amazement, people were already leaving the mainland on Thursday, and I mean, crowds of people were already leaving, and so
I believe I don't recall if it's Friday or Saturday, but a friend of mine also went to Keycocker, and she was at the back of the line, and the line stretched out at the San Pedro Belize Express port all the way out into the sidewalk.
And that's what I'm saying.
It was crazy. I really hope that they were able to manage and have everybody on it. I'm pretty sure everybody reached their destination. But let's hope that the numbers of cases of COVID, do not rise after this weekend. And we're going to have to wait in a couple of weeks to find out how those cases look like. I mean, I can't say that everybody might be safe with social distancing because that was not happening. But let's try to remember that there's still a pandemic out there. But in other news, you know, we have our traditions this Easter weekend in Belize, and one of our traditions was, of course, the cross-country race. Did you go out to see that?
Well, you know, it's interesting because unlike many Belizeans, I don't travel until Saturday.
Yeah, same.
Right? And so I know that there are Belizeans who don't necessarily wait until Saturday. For me, it wasn't necessarily it's not necessarily a tradition. It's a tradition, not a superstition. That's what I wanted to say. And so the tradition for us on Saturday morning is to watch the cross country before travels, or in fact, if it's taking longer than we anticipated, which it usually does. You know, cross country cycling, the race usually takes a certain amount of time every Easter. But for some reason, we always feel like, oh, it takes too long.
Yeah, because we have on.
Right, and so what we did this Easter, as we normally do, is we wait until the race is on the way, until the race is halfway, and we usually catch it while it's on the way, while we're on the highway. And that's what happened this morning. While we were heading, what happened on Saturday morning, while we were heading to our destination, we were able to catch the race just outside of Belize City. And for me, I forgot how it felt to watch the race, to see your Belizeans up front, and to know that they stand a fighting chance. Now, there were a broadcast of this event, and so I was tuned in from the start at about 6 a.m.
in the morning,
that morning it started, and I was listening throughout the event, and then finally when I was able to see it, and I was able to see, I believe it was Byron Pope and another Belizean that were along with the group of 4 that were ahead at least for the last leg of the race.
They did really well.
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
regardless
I'm
of the
proud
place
of
that
them.
they took, they did really, really well. And of course, you know, Belize took 3rd and 4th. I think it was Byron Pope that took 3rd.
Right.
And I think it was
so
Myron.
that's what we're seeing. We're seeing them going to the finish line. So this is John DeLong, a rider from the U.S., and that's Asani.
Asan Hennes.
Henson. And this is where he made the break away from John DeLong. Now, I was watching when it was right outside of Belize City, right after the bridge, when they decided that this is the Anguillan and the American national. They decided that they would leave the 2 Belizeans, or at least they would make a break for it. And John DeLong began the race, who I think carried that race for the entire time from the left Belize City. And when they made that breakaway, and the 2 Belizeans couldn't keep up, and I guess that's where you separated the experience and the strength from that sort of inexperience. Or not saying inexperience, but at least they didn't have that level of experience that these international riders
I mean,
had.
we still, of course, we give our congratulations, our kudos to our Belizeans that represented us really, really well. And of course, congratulations to the Anguillan Hassan Hennes. I think it was Hennessy that we
forgive us
for the
congratulations
for the last name botching, but
yeah.
Yes, we congratulate them, and of course the second place was the American, and then I think along the rest, after 4th, 5th, there were a lot of Belizeans that came in the top 10. So we congratulate everyone that did their best. And unfortunately, right during that race, there was a traffic incident.
Tragic accident.
Tragic accident. Other tragic traffic accidents that happened throughout the entire weekend. There were many incidents of domestic abuse, drowning, gun violence. We try our best to, we're not doing Eye on the News this morning, but we try our best to try to be safe out there. And of course, things happen. But this weekend, there were many things that happened that we can't, we're already out of time to discuss.
Well, I'll just say, April, that to catch all of these stories and more, you can tune into our 6 p.m. newscast, where we will make an attempt to bring you full coverage of all of these incidents, including the drowning, the gun violence, as well as other issues that happened across the nation since over the long weekend. So you don't want to miss that at 6 p.m. on our live newscast.
All right. Well, we got to get into our show for this morning, and we move on into our eye opener for today. And I'm very excited for this eye opener. Our eye openers are taken from dailyom.com, and for Tuesday, April 19th, this one goes like this. Our inner child lies hidden beneath the layers we've put on in order to become adults. Deep within each of us lives the child we once were. In our rush to put on grown-up clothing and live adult lives, we may have forgotten the wisdom and innocence we possessed when we were children. In meditation, we can connect with our inner child and reclaim what we have forgotten. Set the intention that you are going to connect with your inner child. See your grown-up self hugging your inner child. Listen to what your inner child has to say. There also may be an ache from a childhood wound that you can now heal by talking to your inner child and offering them the wisdom and perspective that comes with maturity. Allow your inner child to always be there for you. Treat yourself to a play date, ice cream, or a walk in the park. Let yourself laugh and play more. Give yourself permission to be as wise as your inner child so you can stop focusing on what isn't important and start living as if every moment is precious. Your life will be filled with more laughter and fun.
I love this, April.
Yes, I love it a lot.
You know, I tend to tap into my inner child unintentionally at times, but it's interesting because for the most part, when I find myself tapping to my inner child, it's due to some negative situation I faced in the back. Because in meditation, I would ask myself, oh, why am I feeling this way? Or why am I reacting this way? And I go and I quiet myself and this feels as if this stems from something in the past. But that's healthy.
Yes.
And that's helpful because it helps me to understand my emotions. But then there are those times when I just let loose and I tap into my inner fun child. And that's when I say, all right, you know what? I don't care about no diet. I will have my ice cream and my cheesecake.
Did you
today.
tap into your inner child this weekend?
I have a lot of making up to do in the gym.
Okay. Well, I really love this quote because I feel like we always tend to disconnect the children from important situations. We feel like they can't handle it. We feel like they're too innocent. But sometimes we tend to forget that we were once children and that we would want to understand the situations that are happening. And I believe that kids, especially with this pandemic, they were the ones paying the most attention. They were the ones following the rules. They were the ones taking their masks all over. So I think there is a lesson to have here when it comes to tapping into your inner child. It's not just going into a spontaneous place, but also a place of a different perspective, different knowledge. So I really like this. But we have to move on, and we're moving on to the general weather forecast for this morning. And we have with us on the phone Angelia Guy. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well. I hope that this weather is going to be a little bit better this week. It was very hot this weekend. Can you tell us the general situation?
Okay, we'll continue with mostly dry weather over the area. We have a slight shift in winds, so it will continue to be warm, but it might not feel as hot as this weekend.
Okay, and what about the winds?
Okay, the winds will blow from the northeast at 5 to 15 knots.
Okay. And the sea state?
Sea state will be slight to light drop today.
All right, tell us about our temperatures.
Okay, high temperatures today will reach about 88 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 94 inland, and 82 in the hills.
Okay, and what about our 24-hour forecast?
Okay, we expect clear to partly cloudy skies across the country with little or no rainfall Right now, the radar imagery is showing isolated showers beyond the reef and over some offshore areas.
Okay. And what about the outlook for Wednesday and Wednesday night?
Okay, we'll continue with similar fair and warm and mostly dry weather.
Okay. Any advisories?
No, not at this time.
What about the sarcasm update?
Let me check. Usually issue that was Wednesday to Friday.
Okay.
Let me just check.
While you're checking, are there any warnings for fires?
Yes, well, we don't issue a warning. We just have the fire risk forecast. There's a high chance for brush or forest fires. We've seen several fires or hotspots being located across the country from satellite imagery during the past 24 hours.
All right, so still have to
In
be...
the sarcasm forecast or update from last week, just had that more sarcasm mats are expected to drift onto beaches across the country.
Yeah, we saw that a lot of the coast this weekend. Thank you so much, Angelia, for that weather update, and thank you to the National Meteorological Service of Belize for their due diligence. Have a great day, Angelia.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well,
All right, there you have it.
more hot
Weather, as you know, as predicted. It is April and it will continue into May. Our dry season continues. But we gotta get into our show. And for this morning, we have two lovely segments for you all. Our first segment, we'll be talking about a 3-week health and wellness and evangelical series. In studio, we will have with us Preacher David Campbell, Leslie Gillett, and Arthur Angelia in studio, talking to us about the health and wellness series that's supposed to be taking place on Bird Isle.
Oh, nice. So that's good to get into health and wellness after this long weekend,
Yes, that's
right?
true. Yes.
And then in our second conversation, of course, we will be having Belize Solid Waste Management representatives from that organization, and they will be telling us about their pilot projects in tourist areas, and this includes areas like Placencia and Kikocker, where they will be promoting source separation, composting, reuse, and recycling. And so
Yes.
some interesting things happening there, and you don't want to miss that.
Yeah,
as
in
well.
studio we will have a representative of the Belize Solid Waste Management, Tyrone Chimilio, to talk to us all about that. So yes, two very exciting conversations, but before we get into that, of course, we're going to take our break, and when we get back, health and wellness discussion. Stay tuned.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the Split the Bill button where he selects the Evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Together we can stop the violence by being responsible and respectful partners and fathers in the future.
I will take responsibility to respect women and girls and hold other young men accountable who use hurtful behavior and speech.
Toxic masculinity traits and harmful social norms about how men should behave contributes to gender inequality and violence and fear that women and girls face.
I realized that gender-based violence is a problem that will never end until all boys and men work to end it by resolving conflicts without violence.
We all have a responsibility, and that is why we encourage others to spread this message, to commit to advancing gender equality and to end gender-based violence.
I commit.
I commit.
I commit.
I commit
I commit
to make changes to end violence in
violence
my
in
life
my
and
life
elsewhere.
and elsewhere.
Together we can stop the violence.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Brian. Please stop running around the house.
Right now, Dad.
Damn it, Brian! I told you stop it! Can't you hear me? Are you deaf? Are you just being... Time out. Your life is stressful, and it is easy to lose your patience. When you feel this is about to happen, take a time out. Harsh words are verbal violence and can be very harmful. They are not forgotten. Offering alternatives and communicating with your child is the best way to build real respect. I'm sorry, Brian. That just had a rough day at work. Can you do something quiet?
Do you want a job?
That's more like it.
Wow. Oh my God, she drunk. No hurry, I got this. Goodness. Oh my gosh, it's Stig the artist.
Being the hardest. The artist. But you had way more than 2 drinks tonight, love, which is a legal limit to drive. What about you? Can you drive?
Well, I was drinking soft drink all night, so I can drive her home. Aw, thanks, Bree. Of course, Tricia, you know I got you. You're my girl.
That's what I like to see. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Cause you can't replay in a real life. Stig says so. Can't replay in a real life.
All right, and welcome back. As we said, we have a full set for you in this first discussion. We have on set with us this morning Pastor David Campbell out of Jamaica. We also have Pastor Leslie Gillett out of Belize, of course, and Pastor Arthur Angila. He's out of Curacao, and so we have a full lineup of men this morning. They are here to discuss with us 3 weeks of a health and wellness series that's supposed to be taking place right here in Belize City. Yes. So we want to start with Pastor Leslie Gillett. Pastor, good morning. How are you guys this morning?
Well, good morning. We are fine. It's good to be here. On behalf of the Revelation Hope Beyond evangelistic series, which of course covers health and wellness from a total perspective.
Now, tell us a little bit about when we talk about health and wellness. What is it that we are speaking about? I understand that in Belize and at the government level, we have a ministry, health and wellness. Is it something similar? Would you be able to make that distinction?
Sure. Well, you know, to be fair, the expert of explaining all of that is Arthur. So I must pass it over to him.
All right, Mr. Arthur, tell us.
Okay, good morning. And you know, when we talk about health and wellness, it means that we are created by God with 4 dimensions. The physical dimension, the spiritual dimension, the psychological dimension, and the social dimension. So when we share the gospel, we try to reach people in those 4 dimensions, you know, to have a balance.
Again? Sorry, not to interrupt.
The physical dimension, the spiritual dimension, the psychological dimension, and the social dimension.
Right,
you know, so God created us like that. Yeah. And we as church believe that wealth means a balance in those 4 dimensions. But the key of all these dimensions is the spiritual dimension. Based on that fact, we have this series to join together, to merge together the 3 dimension with the spiritual dimension, and then the human being will be walking, working, living in balance.
So you mentioned the series, and I want to kind of have you all explain how you came together to create this series, this evangelical, because it's an evangelical health and wellness series. So how did that get started?
Okay, if I may, you know, we must bring this home. Last evening, another young person was killed in the city of Belize.
Yes.
And for the last 2 years, we were locked down, we were locked up, we were restrained. And it is very important for us to understand that one aspect of the human being cannot function without the other. There comes a time when you will snap, whether it be if you're not balancing out physically, you will snap, you will fall sick. If you're not balancing it out psychologically, you will lose your mind, right? If you're not balancing it out spiritually, in one particular moment, you lose it. And you find you hear, for example, of somebody who you would see every day, walking up and down, going to work. You know, he took his life. What happened? there was that terrible imbalance. And so we, in seeing all that has been happening in Belize and around the world, we realize, you know what, we need to bring this to the forefront, because people think that, okay, it doesn't matter, I don't need to take care of this aspect of my life or the next aspect. But when they do realize, oftentimes it's too late.
Yeah.
Because they have, you know, they have tripped or they have snapped, as I would say. All right? And so that's how it came together.
If I may just stop a bit into the social aspect of health and wellness, just to talk about how do we teach people to live sociably, if that's the right way to put it. Because when we look at our society, I think one of the biggest issues we have is living amongst each other and living with each other in a peaceable way. And this is what causes a lot of the conflicts that we have. So what do we teach? What do we say? Especially, you're having it in Belize City.
Yes,
in a place
Bird's
that
Eye.
is one of the epicenters of what it seems to be this social issue in terms of socializing.
Before I give the word to the evangelist, I want to mention something. The Bible is a book with full of you get all the knowledge you need to live in a social dimension with other human. Respect, love, mercy, joy. Those are fundamental topics that you find in the Bible. So if we learn from the Bible those topics and internalize them in our life, we will live socially. But the evangelist is preaching, and he's preaching a powerful message. We join together that we need to respect each other. But if we respect God first, then things comes down by themselves.
You know, it was just last night while I was speaking on the whole matter of the law. I make mention that the fear of the Lord prolonged days. I grew up in a ghetto, and the ghetto where I grew up in is one that we have this conflict. And the first time I heard these words, no good thing can come out of that community.
Yeah.
When I went, you know, after I gave my heart to Jesus, I read that in the Bible that that was said about Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, I remember the conflict that we had while growing up. There's a certain community that I could not cross, and I had was to go through there to catch a bus to go to school. And we always have this conflict, and I remember after I gave my heart to Jesus, I was in the bus sitting down, and these young men came. These were my enemies. I mean, I don't know why we call them enemy, but you know, we share the same complexion and all of that stuff there. And one of them said to me, "You're in the church now?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Stay in the church, you know, because the moment you come back out here, we're going to take you out." And I'm happy. You know, I've been in the church for all these years, and I realize having Jesus in your heart brings certain peace, you know, because when you think about doing something bad, and then you have a thought that come in your mind and said, hey, you know, if you do that, your conscience is your guide, and then you have to face God in the judgment, you know, then you think twice. And as I said, if community members can come together, not on the, because we know we try to use music, we try to use money, and we try to influence these young men, you know, in a way to come together, but we never use the method of saying, hey, if you obey the law of God, then you will obey the law of the land. If you cannot obey the law of God, you cannot obey the law of the land. Just a typical example, we were coming and the stoplight was there, and the driver, that is the young man that you make reference to a while ago, he saw everybody going through the stoplight, and I said, no, you stop, wait, because it's going to pass. Don't follow everyone. Then we see the number counting down. And he said, no, God really judges us in the little thing of life. Because we could follow everybody and go through the stoplight. But when you obey just in just simple little thing, then when the big thing come up, then it's easier for you to, you know, to obey, to accept.
Okay, so I you know, talking about the preaching of the soul, the mind, and the body, how are you setting up the series at Bird's Eye? How long is it? What are you discussing? I believe you've already started, right? You began April 10th. And so they're going on to promote it for the next 2 weeks. So how has the schedule been like? How has the response of the people that come been like?
The response has been very good. And it's only getting better with every passing day. Because you see, when you arrive at the meetings, you register. And then there are booths. There is a booth where you can go and you can get your health check. You can check your blood pressure. You can check, you can do a physical checkup.
That's the body.
Right, that's the body. That's the physical part of it. And then there is an area where you can go and you can deal with the psychological. We have counselors there who will sit with you, who will talk with you, will listen to you. And then, of course, there is also an area where we deal with the spiritual aspect of it. People who will pray with you, right? Who will point you to the Word of God. And then, of course, finally we have the message from David, Evangelist David Campbell, that brings it all together. All right? So that's how it works. Every evening, 7 o'clock, except Thursdays and Saturday nights, because we believe that families need time, you need time so we are there from Sunday to Wednesday, and then of course,
and Friday.
What are perhaps some of the greatest needs that you've encountered by those who make the visit?
When it comes down to the family,
I
mean, the families, they are broken,
brokenness.
I remember I gave an experience where I was doing a program, and all we have coming out to the program were women. When you search for the men, you don't see them. I remember having a program, I have over 60 women and their children, but the men refuse to come out. And that's where you find the problem right there. Because then, yes, you might say the men are there, but where are they? And so you growing up in a home where you don't have a male figure, it's kind of hard. You don't have the balance there. And children want to see their fathers in the home. And so that's our biggest burden, the home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So if we could just talk a bit about, let's go back a bit to the young men in our community, the young men in Belize City. Again, we're talking about seeing more women. How do we reach to more of our young men, the ones that are in critical need, and do you feel as if they are receptive to this message of health and wellness? Because I would imagine the argument is there that they are the ones who at least need it at this critical juncture.
Well, interestingly, I will let Arthur talk about that more, because he is, like I said, the expert. But, as we were going out into the communities, even though some of these young men, they have locked themselves where they are, locked themselves away, because it's funny. Freedom begins in your mind. And if you tell yourself you can't do something, believe me, you won't be able to do it. But and so even though they're in there, they have said, please come and talk to us here. We cannot go over there, but we know that we need what you have to share with us. So please come and talk with us. So even as we're having the meetings there at night, during the day, there are some of our people who are going into these areas and they're talking one-on-one with these young men, helping them to better understand themselves, because nobody who really and truly understands himself will find the courage to take the life of someone else. That is true, because you're really killing your own self. It's just a matter of time. And so that's basically, we're using a two-pronged approach. We are meeting the young people where they are, and we are seeing the impact, and at the same time, of course, we're having the meetings there. Go ahead, Arthur.
You know that everything starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts create your beliefs, and your beliefs create your reality. The problem in this country and my country and other countries is that young men has feeded their thoughts with a lot of stuff that created some kind of beliefs that create their reality. And their reality now is, I'm okay where I am and nobody can come and tell me what to do, And we need to with the help of God, break that paradigm and what we're doing, the field work that we're doing, men to men, will create the environment for these young men to say, hey, I will do an inside, and I realize that I need help, because all of us, in a certain way, we need some kind of help, you know? And we created this series to help people by love. The Bible said in the book of Romans 12:2 that we need a renewal of mind. You know what that means? A renewal of thought. Because if you remain with those same thoughts, you will have that same belief. Those beliefs will create the same action repeated create the same habits, and the habits create your character, and your character leads you to your destiny. It's nobody who leads you to your destiny. So what we want to do, what the evangelist is trying to do, is using the word of God to help those young men to feed their mind with other stuff, with other what we call data. You know, we're living in a world of data. We feed our mind with data. Every time you look to a film, you read a book, you watch something on YouTube, on Facebook, you're feeding your mind with that. So we're trying to feed these young people mind with other things so that they shift in their thoughts and they create new beliefs.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add something. Now, if you have never been there, then you don't know what to say.
Right.
Here, I pierce my ears. I used to wear my hearing to the top right here.
Oh, wow.
I was an entertainer. The first time I got an award, I got it from the Prime Minister of my country.
A musician?
Music, right.
Oh, wow.
I was there, right?
Okay. Wow.
When it comes down to badness, I was in it. I see gun, I hold gun. I know what it is to live in a ghetto where badness, you know, you see badness all the time. We're killing. Right, so whenever I go out and I speak to these young people, I'm talking to them, and I'm not as young as I look.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I look that way, but but talking about something that happened some 25, 30 years ago, right? And you used to be there, so you can tell these young people, hey, I know what it is. I've seen my friends. I mean, I know. I don't know if Buju Banton is still here.
Right.
But this young man, being a man, I remember when we were young, we grew together. We were in the same entertainment business together. But you know, the Lord showed me a different path. I mean, everybody have their own destiny, right? But when you place your destiny in the hands of God, it makes, you know, it makes you feel much more better, because then God is leading you. And what I wanted while I was in that type, you know, in that lifestyle, I'm getting it now with Christ, right? So I can tell the young people, yes, you can go to your dream, but please put Jesus in your dream. You know, and your life can preserve, no matter who want to take you out. If you place your life in the hands of God, there's a scripture, I think it's in Psalms 34 and verse 7, the angel of the Lord encircle or encamp around them that fear him. Yeah.
You know, I think it's powerful what you said, Pastor Arthur, about shifting the mind or the mindset, simply because I think that's one of the huge challenges with these young men thinking, I'm trapped here, I can't get out, this is who I am, this is what I've been made to be, and for them on the inside, that's what they see. Of course, us, those looking from the out in, we question, well, why don't you just get out? You know, like, it's simple, just get out. But we don't understand how the mind works in terms of you creating a prison for yourself, right? You're creating a prison for yourself. But how do you speak to a situation and ask, or at least encourage an individual to change or shift their mind when their reality, what they see in their household, mommy probably they hit on that, dad probably hitting on mom, abuse in the home, perhaps a lack of resources. So yes, the evangelist come and speak to me, but when the evangelist leaves, I still have to go and fend for my family. I still have to go and find food to eat. I still have to look over my shoulder because there's an enemy, a real physical enemy after me. So then the reality does not speak to the shifting or the changing of a mindset.
Okay. You know, I go back to the Bible. When I go to the Bible, I find so many stories about people who go through situation that they give me some chance and explain you one.
Go right ahead.
When sometimes we talk about Moses, and yes, 2 days ago I had a class and I explained my students about that. Moses' father was married with Moses' aunt. In our day is incest.
The things we see in the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
But look at this. Moses grew up in a village with a lot of problem, seeing slavery. Moses had to flee away from a problem. But when Moses had an encounter with God, he accepted it, decided to obey what God told him to do, so the word of God, and God uses him in a powerful way. So it does not matter how you grow up, where you come from, what your family did. When God comes into your life, we talk about heart, but when the Bible talks about heart, it means your mind. When God comes to your mind and he's the only one who can help you to make that shift, because he's your creator. He knows how your mental structure is functioning, and he's the one who can do that for you if you allow him. The problem is, if I allow God to do for me what I can do by myself, you know. And these young men, they need to understand that you said a very prime word. The prison that we created with our thoughts. Your thoughts can be your worst enemy or your best ally. So with the Bible, that young man can see how God can work it out for him to change his mind, even though his environment is the worst. And again, here with the evangelist, we see it, how God works in his life. He came out of the ghetto, and now he's a preacher. You know, so this is what we need young people to see. And if you don't see it in Belize, maybe you can find it in the Bible, because the Bible has powerful stories about people that their life has been changed when they decide to obey God's word.
If I may add, you see, you can't. We meet people where they are. We do not deny people's reality, but your reality doesn't have to stay that way. I think that's what we saw when Buju Banton was here. You know, he came to meet these people where they are, to talk to them where they were, but to tell them, I was there, and if I could have left, you too can come out of where you. So it can happen. There are so many stories. You accept your reality, but you realize that, you know what, I can move beyond this. I can choose. And that's it, my friends. I can choose. I mean, the difference between those who have gone somewhere and those who haven't gone anywhere is because somebody choose to move. And even though they claim, you know, I can't leave this, the day they decide to leave, there is a power, there is a higher power, greater power.
I want to since we're discussing these stories and you know, sharing, meeting them where they are, do you talk about work ethic? Do you talk about how, yes, you talk about getting out, right? But you know, that's one journey, because society is also built with obstacles that will prevent you from getting from point A to point B. That's just the system and the way the system works. So do you talk about how you push through that system and how you create certain work ethics so that they can continue on that path? Because you know, sometimes when things get tough, you just go right back to where you started.
Your comfort zone.
Right.
The power lies in finding the balance. Believe you me, folks, when you come to understand who you are, and the balance between the mental, the physical, the social, and the spirit, the more you can manage and understand these, the more you will find, the more power you will have. Because, that's what we were created. We were created to succeed. We were created to move. I mean, this is not the end of it. There's a greater plan. There's a forever that the Word of God talks about. And so when we grasp that, you become an unstoppable force. Nobody can stop you. And I'm a witness to that. I grew up on the streets of Belize City, and I didn't go anywhere other than, of course, when I decided to get my education at the university level. But all the rest of the time I've been here. And everything that I have done, I've done right here. So it is possible.
Yeah. I was just saying, I was so busy before I met Christ. Very, very busy. But my business was doing nothing. And after I gave my heart to Jesus, someone invited me to learn a trade. I went and I started with that trade, welding. That's what I do. I'm very good when it comes down to welding. But all I received was $100 a week. But I stayed there. I didn't move. I mean, I kept on, and in 6 months, I left and I started to earn $4,000 a week. That's from $100, because then I started to work, doing truck chassis and all of those stuff. But I did it because I was now not that busy doing nothing. Now I can find more time with God. And the problem with our young people is that my wife always tells me that there's a word she keep using, and I forgot that word. But so ambition. You have ambition.
Yes.
Yeah, you have ambition.
Ambitious.
No matter how the thing may look, you're going to put on your dirty clothes and you're going to do it. Sometimes we want people to just spoon feed us. We want everything. And again, society, we grew up that way. Hand out, and once time you can get it, and I think that's what needs to stop. Because then if you start to hand out, when it comes at a certain time, people are looking. Nobody's trying to, push and say, I can get better. But, once the handout is coming, I never grew up that way. I have to try on my own, and God gave me the success, And so if by chance my president, because he's the president for the Central Mission, might say, Pastor, I no longer want you, I go do welding.
You know that what the pastors are saying, look, we all have certain kind of comfort zone. Your comfort zone is a comfort place, but nothing grows up there.
Nothing happens.
Nothing. So if you want to move in life, going back to your question, we need to, in your comfort zone, everything is comfort because you have the control, even though it's bad. But to move to the learning zone, you need to cross what we call a fear zone. And the fear zone are excuses, what people talk, what people think, what people, what. And that's your fear zone. And I always said, sometimes you open the windows of your comfort zone and you see the fear zone with all those obstacles and you say, I will remain here. It's so comfortable, so great. That's the reason why you see that, for example, a woman is beaten by a man and you say, but why she stayed there? But she has comfort. She has a house, she has money, she has a car to drive. So she said, okay, he beats me, but I have all this, so I remain with him. So after the fear zone, we reach to a learning zone. There we acquire new skills. We learn to go over obstacles in life. And then we reach the growth zone. The growth zone is where you fulfilled your purpose in life. So again, I go to the Bible. The Bible shows me in a lot of stories how God pushes people to come out their comfort zone, to move into a fear zone, and then reach a learning zone, and then they end up in the growth zone.
I feel like we could continue this conversation more, but we're running out of time. So I just want for our viewers quickly to talk a little bit more about when you have this series, what time? If I am not in the Belize City area, can I see it somewhere else? Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. First of all, we are at Bird's Isle every evening, starting at 7. We have the booths there where they can go and they can consult. All right. And then, of course, we are also on Central Cable, Channel 98. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. You know.
What can they find you under?
Facebook.
What name can they?
They can find us under the Belize Adventist Television Network.
Okay.
ATN.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. ATN.
All right.
Well, April, I feel like a lot of what was shared this morning applies across the board.
Yes,
you know, not only to the City Gang members, but people that are ill as well, facing physical challenges, people that may be facing mental issues as well, your mental health. So I say that to say that this series can reach a wide variety of people, and so because the principles spoken about this morning can apply across the board, at least from what I've heard and at least what I understand.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And so, you know, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the Health and Wellness Evangelist series, you can always reach them at Facebook and YouTube at the Belize Adventist Television Network.
Right.
Yes. To watch the series, it already began April 10th and it will prolong for another 2 weeks. So catch them, if you want to learn a little bit more about you. So stick around. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming on. I wish we could continue the conversation, but we are out of time. And with that, we're going to take a short break. And when we get back, solid waste management. Stick around.
Stick around.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere. Satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
And we are back, and in studio we have with us this morning Tyrone Chimilio, who is the Communications Officer at the Belize Solid Waste Management. Here to talk to us about their pilot projects in the tourist areas in Placencia, I assume Kikaker, Hopkins and Pedro?
Yes.
Good morning.
I don't want to speak ahead of my time.
No, go ahead. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Well, allow me to reintroduce myself to the audience. My name is Tyrone Chimilio. I'm the Communication Officer for the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority, Ministry of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining. And like I said, everything feels brand new. You know, I don't used to
been a while.
and John. No, it's brand new faces, so that's a good thing. So now I'm talking about a new and exciting project that we're going to bring to the forefront.
Yeah.
But before I speak about that, let me just give you a background about the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority, because there are persons who would be interesting to know exactly what do we do. Well, the authority is in charge of safe transfer and disposal of waste that we receive from our transfer stations. We have 5 transfer stations in country, and that was a part of what we call our Western Corridor project. We call it the Belize Solid Waste Management Project 1, where we're able to construct these transfer stations, and our final disposal site is at the Regional Sanitary Landfill located at mile 24. We also have what we call the Belize Solid Waste Management Project 2 that we're currently implementing as well. So we have constructed new transfer stations within other municipalities. I think just before I move on, I missed the fact that these transfer stations that we currently have operational, we have a transfer station in Belize City, San Pedro, Kikaka, San Ignacio, and Burrell Boom. So waste that is received at those transfer stations, what happens is that we have what we call the recyclers. They extract or they recover the recyclable material from the mass waste. The residual waste, meaning the waste that we're not going to do anything else with, that is then transferred to the regional sanitary landfill for final disposal. So that's the current system that we have in place. When it comes to the newly built transfer station on the Solid Waste Management Project 2, we have transfer stations that have been built in Corozal, Orange Walk, Belmopan, Dangriga, Placencia, and Punta Gorda. So those additional transfer stations, they have been built, but they're not operating as yet.
You know, not to interrupt you, Mr. Tremino, but I think it's interesting to hear what happens at these transfer stations, because most Belizeans, to tell you the truth, aren't fully aware. We see them, we know they're built because we saw when they're under construction. If you travel the highways, not only that, but we know that they have something to do with garbage. But in terms of what really takes place at the transfer station, I think we haven't been given a lot of access to see what happens there. And so sometimes I pass, and in my mind I'm like, do we have people in there actually separating the waste? Is it that there's a machine that crushed? I don't fully know. So help us understand a bit of what happens at the transfer station.
It's good that you've asked that question because we're going to get a little bit about it when I speak more about the TC.
Okay.
At these current transfer stations that we have, and this is the mindset that is very important and very critical to the waste management sector, is that changing the mindset and changing the process of how we actually look at solid waste. People think that waste is just you just take the garbage and you put it in a bin and then that's it.
Yes.
But there's so many other aspects that is very dynamic to waste management. You have to look at the administrative, you have to look at legal, you have to look at the geographics, you have to look at the scientific analysis that you need to execute a proper disposal system, period. And when we look at what we've been able to accomplish over the last 10 years, for example, before this project, Solid Waste Management Project 1 even existed, we had dump sites.
Yes.
We had dump sites burning,
and that's what
nuisance,
everybody is
stench.
used to.
Everyone was used to it. No.
Are those still like in existence?
Dump
Do we
sites?
still
It's gone. It's dead and gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, because we
So-
still see some
I
site
don't know if
locations.
it's dead and gone. I think that you have, especially people in the rural areas where you're not monitoring.
I'm going
okay,
to talk about that
okay.
later on, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good because you see, this is the thing. Those municipalities currently benefiting from the transfer stations that we have, they don't have those problems that we had decades ago because there's no more dump sites. Transfer stations exist in San Ignacio, Belize City, San Pedro, Kikaka, and Borough Boom. So that is there. That's the changing of the mindset. Now, let me speak about the TC. Now, the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority through the Inter-American Development Bank with the Japan Quality Infrastructure Initiative, now we're implementing what we call a technical cooperation, which is an agreement to be able to support us in the recovery of the recyclable fraction of the waste. So it's basically a pilot project that we're executing in 2 pilot areas. So we're focusing on waste reduction and source separation, reuse, and recycling. So people always talk about waste management and they talk about disposal, but we don't necessarily think about how is it that we could be able to participate and to ensure that we make an impact on our environment. Before I came on the program, I see that the pastors, they were talking about the environment, which is we live in an environment that we need to take care of. So when we talk about waste management, that is where us as the people who live in this country have to be very cognizant of the fact that proper waste disposal is important. So when I go all across this country teaching and preaching, at the end of the day, I tell everybody my role as a communication officer in waste management, including our staff and our administrative people and all other people within the waste management sector, we're very important people. That's my swag. At the end of the day, I'm as important as a BTL man or a BEL man or a man from BWS because waste management people, man.
Imagine we weren't managing waste.
Exactly.
Right. And there lies my question when it comes to reducing your carbon footprint and what's not. Do the fact that we recycle our bottles, the fact that we maybe stop using plastic, how much of that actually helps us? And the reason I ask is because the garbage goes somewhere.
Exactly.
And we don't really know where it goes. After you guys finish with it, where does it go?
Well, this is the thing about this project. We're moving away from a linear economy to more of a circular economy now, especially in our time. We have these issues with climate change, and we are moving into a plastic crisis. So too much plastics is being created through the TC now, and I want to bring this back into focus. Is that through this project, it's a pilot project taking place within Placencia and Kikaka. So what we want to be able to accomplish is the source separation, which is the main target of this actual project. So what we're looking at is that we have these communities, we have specific communities that we'll be working with in Placencia and in Kikaka. Those individuals who will be with us, we have our campaigners, we have our sorters, we have people who will be washing and etc. But within those homes, they'll be able to separate what they have generated. So for example, You will take out your PET bottles, the HDPE bottles. You'll rinse them, take the labels off, place them in the bag. You'll take that bag and you'll put it out, and then we'll have someone who will pick up that on a specific day. The reason for that is that what we want to be able to do is to introduce what we call a national source separation policy. That's where we are moving into. The reason for that, solid waste management project 2 transfer stations, like I mentioned before, they are in different municipalities. The process for that is very important, because what we will do when those transfer stations become operational will be long hauling waste from Corozal, Orange Walk, Punta Gorda, Placencia, Dangriga, Belmopan to one location, which is the regional sanitary landfill. We cannot just take all of the accumulated waste and take it there, because of course it's critical to expand the lifespan of our landfill. So we want to do our best to create waste diversion, and the only way we could be able to do those things is through this project, because it's going to enable us to be able to pilot, get a deeper understanding of the analysis that we are able to extract from through this, because it's a 3-month pilot project. So what we could be able to do is to take what we have learned and then take it national.
Go ahead.
The materials that you are focusing on, are they tin, glass, plastic, cardboard?
No, not cardboard.
Okay, so glass, plastic, tin.
Yeah, Clorox bottles.
Clorox, okay,
bottles,
so all things plastic bottles.
Yes.
All right. And you sort them, you color code them. How are they being sorted?
Well, the sorting is going to take, after we collect, we will have someone who will double check what is in those bags.
Right.
Yes. Then those will be taken to buyers who actually buy those materials, and then those are taken out of the country. In Belize, we don't necessarily do recycling.
Right.
But we're in terms of that in itself, because recycling is basically repurposing that material into another product.
Yes.
But here, what we have major buyers who buy these recyclable materials, and likewise they go and they export to other countries who actually use the items. I think eventually, with innovation, of course, there will be someone who could be able to take up that mantle and to say, you know what, I'm going to invest and recreate certain products based on what they recover here. But the most important thing that we want to be able to focus on is the importance of the process that we want to be able to execute within this project, because source separation is something that we talk about but we don't necessarily practice.
Yes, and I was going to get into that a bit, because what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're sort of switching the responsibility to the household in terms of sorting and kind of separating these things. But it's something we talk about, like you said, but it's not necessarily something that we practice. How do you sensitize and educate households in this pilot project for them to understand the responsibility and the role they will play in this project?
It's not also their responsibility, but it's the impact that just being responsible for that aspect.
The habit.
It's the habit that we want to be.
It's a habit you're breaking and changing, essentially.
Yes, but people have to know the reasons as to why you want to be able to break that habit.
The thing is that correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you'll know more the data than I would, but people do it. We do. We just don't know what to do with it. I'm pretty sure you have a bunch of bottles home and you just don't know what to do with it because they're just there.
Right.
And
you can sell it to board and board.
You can, but then you have, for example, like the Clorox bottle, right? Or wine bottles. I sometimes would give it to people that make oil because they could bottle it and reuse it. But in terms of the plastic bottles, so much plastic bottles.
I like the fact that you brought that up, April, because you see, we have an issue with littering in this country.
Yes, we do.
And one of the reasons we have issues is that those bottles that we see have no value.
Yeah.
So if we could then have a value for those items, when people could actually take it back and get 5 cents or 10 cents on a bottle, you won't see those on the highways. So those are, in fact, looking at that in itself, that's what we call, there's a thing called polluter's principle, right? I mean that you as the polluter have to be able to pay.
Yeah.
So all of those things exist in the solid waste management policy that we have. So like I told you 10 years before, those things were non-existent, but now we have those things, and when it comes to waste management, there's always a challenge that we have to be able to reach. So for example, closure work for dump sites within those 5 municipalities, or 4 municipalities, and including Borough Boom, sorry. That for me, that represents a great deal of what we have been able to accomplish as an authority, because like I said, we went from dump site to transfer station, so now people could be able to see what we do and what we execute, and the importance of what we have been able to do within this country. This environment is a very big thing. I always tell people that it's a great accomplishment for us to have been able to implement solid waste management project one, and thus take a switch that, you know what, there is something that we could be able to do to meet these challenges. So with project 2, that challenge for us is to be able to not do the same old, because what we have is commingled waste, which we're all accustomed to. So within the next 5 years, we want to have people not be accustomed to that and really embrace the fact that we have to start to separate the waste that we generate within our homes and businesses and institutions, because we don't want to be in a situation facing a crisis when it comes to waste disposal.
So just go back to the pilot project to talk a bit about, just explain a bit more how the process will work in terms of perhaps how often will it be collected, where does it go after it's collected, and then if you would, why these 2 communities?
Well, these 2 communities, Placencia and Kikaka, they're tourist destinations, of course, including we have our own residential persons who live in these areas. So it was very critical to see how it would work with us as residents, including people within these tourist areas. Many times when I have done consultations, we always have, especially experts who encourage recycling in these communities. So we're going to see how accustomed people are when it comes to wanting to make a significant difference or change within these both destinations that we're doing the pilot project. The process is very simple. What will happen is that we have our campaigners that will go from house to house, introducing specifically what we want them to do. So if you accept being a part of this pilot program, you'll be given a bag. In that bag, whatever you bring from the grocery store and you use for the week, you'll be able to just simply take out the recyclable fraction of what you have bought. So automatically that makes you be cognizant of what you're buying, which will create, you know, that reduction mindset. Maybe I don't really need to buy this whole case or whatever, you know. So through that process now, you'll be able to take those bottles, whatever it is, the tin cans, you rinse them out, you cut off the label if you can, you place them in the bag, because we will actually give the bags. You place them in the bags, then you take them out. We think we'll be able to have that recovery process, because there will be someone that will take them, but it probably will be maybe once every 2 weeks. Because through that process, it will take a while for you to accumulate certain recyclable material. So maybe to every 2 weeks, that person is going to come and they're going to take that bag. When they take that bag, we'll have another person there that will be able to do the other sorting that is necessary, just to ensure that we have what we want. Then through that, we could be able to do our analysis, how much we have collected, et cetera, before those materials are then sold to other buyers.
So these are bags that you'll place right in front of your house. You don't necessarily place them in the bin. No, I mean when they're filled, you place them right. You don't necessarily place them in the bin. Let's say you have a huge
you
garbage
place it
drum.
separate from
the
residual waste. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You're starting Placencia and Kickocker. They really have an opportunity here to set the trend, to be trendsetters in terms of a project that you guys want to launch nationwide.
Yes, and actually we're doing it on April the 22nd, which is this Friday on Earth Day. What the best day to actually do it?
Yeah.
Best day to do it.
Yes.
So people could recognize the impact that we want to make in Placentia and in Kikaka, because we want people to be able to introduce themselves to something that is going to be new and beneficial.
Right.
Like I said, in the next 5 to 10 years, I would want to see this is the way we actually go as a country. As someone who has been to the landfill countless times, I could literally say, you know what, there's something that we could do that will be able to reduce what we have been, the land space that we've been using at the landfill. When I go and I do different presentations across this country, I always tell students that we have to be mindful of the fact that we import a lot of products.
Yeah.
What we need to start to do is to think about ways how we're going to take them outside. We cannot just bury them here.
Yeah.
We have to create a systematic process of waste diversion that will have our landfill have a lifespan rather than 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, that we have to continue to look at how we divert these wastes and repurpose these materials, because that is what resource recovery is all about. Recovering the recyclable fraction and repurposing those materials into another product. And the circular economy is the way to go. We cannot just keep on doing the same thing and expect that we're going to have these changes in the next 5 to 10 years. Like I said, we don't want to end up in a situation where we do face a plastic crisis in country.
Right.
So this is the way to actually go to be able to accomplish this through this pilot program.
So it's going to be for 3 months.
Yeah, it's going to be for 3 months. Well, it might be over that, but that's our target for the 3 months, and we might have a little bit extension to it.
I understand the reason why you're doing it in the tourist areas. I'm a little bit curious to see how it would expand into more rural and urban settings, because that your larger families are there. So regardless of, I mean, you said that you'll pick it up maybe once every 2 weeks, but if you live in a family of 8, you'd have to pick it up once a week, or you'd have to pick it up. You know, I'm just curious to know how you're doing your research on where you're selecting your pilot people from.
Like I said, everything. We're looking at how it's going to be like maybe within the first month, because it's actually trial and error.
Right, of course.
This is very new, and we want to be able to make sure that when we actually execute and conclude this project, we could take these findings and actually do it nationally. So all of this will be able to give us the data that we need, because when it comes to, even in terms of the execution of the project and in terms of our own operations, you know, we have to be very critical in our thinking of how we make certain adjustments, especially when it comes to waste management. Because like I told you, people forefront in waste management is just like, whatever, you know, so we have to be able to make these adjustments as we go along within the project. I think you made mention a while ago about why is it that we were looking at the numbers in terms of maybe we do within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Everything is based, like I said, it's science. So we have to be able to see if persons will be receptive in actually following the process that we want them to follow. So we cannot just pinpoint, oh, this is what is going to work, because even in the execution of our campaign, we had one vision, other persons have other visions on the island, and we had to collaborate and be able to give and take, receive people concerns, because it's very valuable to listen to people and see what are their concerns and what they could be able to have a very positive and impactful input in their conversation. And then we made those adjustments as we continue to proceed with our campaign. So all of these things, it's, you know, you have to figure it out together. This is where
you have the work of a evangelist and politician in one. I say kudos to you for that. But since we have you here, if you would, I want to bring up a topic just briefly that April brought up earlier in terms of waste management in the and changing this behavior of dumping in some of the rural communities, mostly where traditionally we've grown accustomed to dumping in remote areas. For example, let's say a land way in the back. where you think nobody's monitoring and stuff like that. Now I know not only is it hazardous, but it's also illegal, correct? Can you speak a bit about that?
If you have a dump site that is not sanctioned by the Department of Environment, that means you have created an illegal dump site, and there are penalties and fines if you're caught. Saying that as well, we have what we call since we have executed Solid Waste Management Project 2, there is another aspect. We want to be able to create another project that does involve having drop-off centers in these communities. So eventually those dump sites will be able to face those challenges with those illegal dump sites created at those villages. You have urban villages and you have rural villages. Urban villages are the villages like right on the roadside that are huge, like a Carmelita. Then you have like the rural villages are villages that you have to go 3 miles in. So we want to create what we call drop-off centers. And if we could start source operation at those villages, it will be even better, where you could actually just go to one location and drop off your waste like in a big, huge container. And then we have our trucks could just haul that and take it to the regional sanitary landfill for final disposal. So those things are coming.
Right.
Everything is one step at a time. And why I'm so excited, especially about this pilot project, is that speaking about it and executing it is one thing. So I am seeing the dream, and then that dream is going to become a reality. So when we have concluded and finalized this source operation pilot project to the TC, we'll be able to come with,
come back after 3 months until we're gone.
Yes, and let people understand how valuable their contribution are. So I want to once again I don't know if we're wrapping up.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Your final thoughts.
It's your show, sir.
Yes.
you begin and you wrap up for us.
Yes, I just want to tell people once again, April the 22nd, this Friday, we're having the launch of the TC. At the Placencia Point in Placencia and in Kikaka is going to also take place at the Children's Park. So if you want to be a part of it, you could contact myself, Mr. Tyrone Chimilio, Mr. Kenneth Williams, or Kayla Magana at 802-1527 or 828-4864. Get in contact with us, and we could be able to have you partake in what we're doing, because we want to do a small little beach cleanup to launch the campaign. And I also have to big up all of my people in the waste management sector. And I'm not just talking about the Belize Solid Waste Management Authority. I'm talking about across the country, all of these municipalities, the mayors and the workers on the ground. We work hard to ensure that this country is clean. And I would just like to big up my director. She's the person who is behind us in terms of the execution of this project and in terms of our operations, Ms. Lumen Cayetano. What we do sometimes, we have sleepless nights just to ensure that we have the service that we provide is on par. Our minister, Mr. Curdle Hyde, our CEO, Ms. Nella Tulsi, and our public relations person from the ministry, Mr. Coleman. So I'd like to just thank those people. And with that, thank you guys for having me this morning.
Thank you. Well, you know what? He just wrap up for we.
Yeah, I think we could cut the show now.
Yeah, we're good. But you heard it here first, folks. The campaign begins on Earth Day this Friday, April 22nd. So if you're in Kikaka and Placencia, you might just get one of these people from the Belize Solid Waste Management to knock at your door to see if you would like to be part of this new pilot project. I think it's a great initiative. I think Belize is heading in the right direction, so kudos to you all, and I really hope that we get good results. But with that, we're going to take our final break, and then we'll be back for a wrap-up, so stick around.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI. Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great
Messi!
entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
And we are back with our wrap-up for this morning.
Two wonderful conversations, yes. April. The first, I want to thank the pastors from there at the Adventist Church in Belize. They're hosting a health and wellness series, a 3-week series in 1 week already, 2 more weeks to go there at the Birds Island. I honestly want to encourage everyone who needs some sort of fulfillment, whether spiritual, uplifting, whether spiritual, physical, emotional, social, mental. I think there's something there for everyone to benefit from the principles that we spoke about this morning simply, I remember the fear zone. I remember the learning zone. I remember the growth zone that Pastor Arthur talked about. And I think that's something that I will leave with thinking about today. All right, where is the fear zone for me? How can I get over that to learning? And then how can I get over that to growth? And so I loved that. And so I do want to encourage others out there to tap into this information.
I 100% agree. I appreciate the fact that they talk about life hardships, life decisions, the environment that some of us are in, and find ways that you can get out and better yourself, whether it is through mind, body, spirit, social growth. And so we want to thank them so much for coming. If you can't make it to the Bird's Isle, they're showing their wellness series on Facebook and YouTube, and you can find them at the Belize Adventist Mission Network. And I believe also that they're on the Central Television on Channel 98, they said. So you can find them if you can't make it to Bird's Isle. Their series will be on cable and online for you all. And then, of course,
we moved from taking out the spiritual and mental garbage
to the physical garbage that we take out. I really appreciate this movement that the Belize Solid Waste Management is trying to achieve. I think that we are behind as Belize because we have all of this green. We appreciate the ecological resources that Belize has to offer, but with everything else, we don't do a really good job of, and it shows when you drive down the highway, when you walk the streets of your city, that there's garbage everywhere. And to live in such a beautiful environment that we have, we don't really do a good job at disposing of our waste and taking care of our environment.
And this, of course, is no indictment to the folks over there at the Solid Waste Management, because when you look at the work that they have been doing in terms of transitioning us over the last decade to where we are right now with the transfer station. I was speaking to Mr. Chimina after the show just to tell him, hey, we need to highlight more of what the progress that we've made over the last 10 years to kind of give Belize a better understanding of the investments that we've made as a country. Now, where greater investments need to be made, as I understand it, is in Belizeans, individuals, understanding our role and responsibility in waste management. It's not just the Solid Waste Management Organization, but we have a role to play. Where does waste begin? It begins with us.
With us, absolutely. And I can't help but think that you said, we go to the mental, physical, the mental, spiritual waste and how we take it out. But Pastor Arthur also talked about habits and human behavior and the way we're supposed to try to transition and change as a people. So I believe that Mr. Chimilio came here to talk about this pilot project as a 3-month project and in Kikaka and Placencia, and hopefully they're able to do that separation test. But that is a habit that you have to develop as a person. You have to be able to try to separate these things. You have to do it on a weekly basis and see how that works. So, it's work. You have to, once you finish with a bottle, right, the first thing you do that throw it away. The reason why you buy disposable plates is so you don't have to wash it when you have guests. So it's that kind of mindset that we have to do away with so that we can try our best to reduce our carbon footprint in this world. Climate change is real, and protecting and defending our ecological resources is everybody's responsibility. Indeed. Yeah. So I know I just blabber and I'm sorry, and I think, but we are out of time. We are out of time. We want to thank all of our guests for coming in, and of course, we want to thank you, our viewers, for getting up, starting your morning right with us here at Open Your Eyes. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow. I will not be here, Paul will not be here, but I believe John and Brighton should be with you all tomorrow morning. So with that, I want to say thank you, Belize, and remember to keep your eyes, your minds,
and your heart open.
See you soon. Oh, I forget almost. I have to say, if you have any questions or concerns, you can drop us a link right here. at oye@channel5belize.com, or you can find us on social media at Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, or on Instagram at OYEBelize. So we'll see you tomorrow, we'll see you on Thursday and on Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.